And if you're thinking of traveling to one of the viewing hotspots, be prepared to spend a lot of money. Lots of it. NewsNation travel editor Peter Greenberg is here with us now. Peter, great to see you this Sunday. Welcome.
And great to see you.
More than 3 million people are expected to the path of totality. Talk to me about the travel industry. How much are they expected to make with this event?
It's the path of totality. It's also the path of surge pricing and overcharging. You heard that figure of 48% above on average hotel rates. It's actually higher than that. This is going to make Y2K look like a walk in the park. We're going to see a total revenue that they're estimating right now at over $1 billion for an event that doesn't last very long, and there are no guarantees, as you earlier reported, on the weather. So stand by.
Peter, I'm told you're at an airport right now. What is the look around you?
Well, right now I'm at the Islip Airport, MacArthur Airport right here on Long Island, about to head down to Fort Lauderdale. Right, it's a beautiful sunny day here, but again, you know, they're looking at some cloud cover issues for tomorrow and some rain. And if you have that, all bets are off. You're not going to see it.
And Stephanie's been telling us there are sold-out hotel rooms from the southern border all the way to New England. You've been doing this for a long, long time. Have you seen any other events like this sell out in this way and so quickly?
Yes, Taylor Swift.
True, true. Yeah. So we know, yeah, please.
You know that 20% of Americans have now said that they would fly a long-haul flight just to see a concert, and 47% say they're going to fly just to go to a favorite restaurant. So we've come full circle. The people that are getting crazy going for a dinner and a show.
I have friends that are actually flying overseas for Taylor Swift, so I definitely agree with you there. Let's talk about the FAA issuing a warning to travelers that the phenomenon could cause air travel delays. More than 47,000 flights forecasted on Monday. What can we do to avoid delays if people have to travel, you being one of them?
Well, 47,000 flights doesn't necessarily mean they've added more flights. It just means that's the normal number of flights in the air. However, there are some airlines, Delta Airlines being one of them, a number of other airlines like United, are basically saying, we're going to actually have a special flight tomorrow that's sold out in about 2 minutes to actually track the path where you'll be able to, at altitude, see the eclipse if you're wearing the proper eye gear.
I saw that and I thought it was very, very cool. Of course, did not get a ticket, couldn't. It sold out very, very quickly and it was very expensive. Let's turn to another travel story we're watching. This is surprising to me, Peter. The TSA says that 300 people, it's a lot of people, have tried to bypass TSA security checkpoints since March of 2023. Some people have actually made it onto planes. You're in airports more than anyone we know. What's going on here? How are they getting past these checkpoints?
Well, let's first take a look at the numbers. 300 people, not very many when you consider on a given day the TSA is screening between 1.5 and 2 million people. That's a day. We're talking 300 people in a year. Now, of those 300 people, about 85% of them, it was inadvertent, or they tried to enter through a door that passengers were coming out in that buffer zone between the terminal on the air side and the terminal on the ground side where they're going to get their bags. They were stopped. In many cases, when they really tried to go through and were not listening to the authorities, they were not only apprehended, they were arrested. Now, the number of people that got on the plane, we had the most recent incident, which is an interesting glitch in the technology, where you actually saw the video of the passenger who was trying to sneak on the plane do what? Actually photograph somebody's boarding pass and use that barcode to actually use it at the computer at the gate to get on the plane. That is a rare occurrence, but obviously the authorities are looking into that.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that story. Absolutely unbelievable. What are airports going to do to make sure people cannot avoid those security checkpoints? To your point, 300 is not a large number considering how many people travel, but still a concern.
Well, at those choke points with the buffer zone of people coming off the plane and heading to baggage claim, you'll see officers standing there, now not allowing anybody to return back in. But those officers are not federal officers. Those are rent-a-cops. And basically, they're going to have to increase the number of them because if somebody gets through there, these are not armed officers. These are not people. They have a telephone, maybe, and a walkie-talkie they can call for additional security. But once they do that, you're dealing with a total lockdown at a terminal that's going to disrupt everybody's travel plans that day. So they need a little more officers in physical presence at those choke points.
Peter Greenberg live at an airport in Long Island this morning. Safe travel, sir. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.